Welcome, everyone. This is Around the World in 80 Animals, which I called Birds, Mammals, Monotremes, and More. And oh, as always, if you all need something, don't put it in the chat. Just, you can't see something, you have a question, just say it out loud, please, because I can't see the chat when I'm doing this multiple share thing. So we are going to go to Asia, part 2. And if you're new, I'm Roseann Hanson. I run my own Exploring Overland Field Arts Institute. My husband and I run adventure trips, field arts trips, publish books, nature journaling for wildlife, our new magazine, Exploration Quarterly, which has tons of really fun field arts things in it as well. And we just love to share our love of exploring, and that includes what we're doing today, exploring the world by visiting and sketching 15 minutes per animal. Keep it loose as we explore Asia. And we'll do 8 critters, 15 minutes per. We're not doing scientific illustrations, so don't stress on it. And we'll be in this together because I'm way out of practice. So where are we going first? We're going to the borders between India, Nepal, Pakistan for a really cool animal. Of course, they're all cool. But this is the dhole, or the red wolf. And it is, as you can see from the chart that I stuck in there, it's branched off a long time ago, they think, from African wild dogs. Between that and the Ethiopian wolf is where it's most closely related, which is really cool. It is a canid, but its genus name is Kuan. So native to Southeast Asia. It's big dog size, up to about 46 pounds, very endangered, fewer than 2,500 left in the world. It used to be really widespread, but as many predators go, they just are really persecuted. Interestingly, they don't howl or bark. They make little muley squeaky noises, kind of a lot like our gray foxes. Highly social with big clans, without any dominance hierarchies, which I thought was really interesting, and multiple breeding females. Our coyotes do that sometimes too. So let's get going sketching this lovely dhole, Kuan. Let's see, this is where I'm going to put my map. This is how I generally do my I have this on the vertical, but this is how I'll do my spreads. I'll put my map here. So I'm going to start drawing here. So I'm going to, now, come on, camera. Uh-oh. I'm back. Hold on. I accidentally hit a button. I'm using my phone because I really like the color rendition. But if it does this weird focus thing, let me know. Sorry about that. If it goes in and out of focus inappropriately, the way it's set up, I can't lock it right now. So let me move a few things out of the way and we'll get started. All right, I think I'm going to put our red wolf across here. And what I want to do is first, I'm going to do with pencil. I want to ground so I can ground his feet. And then I also want to mark, okay, actually, I think I put that a little bit too high, give myself a little more room. You want to mark where his rear is, just make a little mark, and then where you're going to see the nose, because what we want to do, this guy is, I'm going to make this bigger. This guy is long and also long legs. So what I do is I'm holding up, if I show you here, I'm going to hold up and measure. Okay, so I'm measuring the full length here. I'm marking it on my pencil from his nose to his rear. And then I'm going to, the easiest thing for me is I'm going to measure from his forehead by his eyeball to that mark beginning at the front of his shoulder. I'm spending more time on proportion on this one, so I'm measuring that. So then I'm counting. There are about 2.5 a bit of that triangle shoulder mark all the way across the paper. So this represents, if this is his body, which is about right, then this is going to be where I want to see that shoulder. So I make sure I get these proportions right. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start roughing in. Let's just do a triangle. Don't worry right now about perfect stuff here, because we're gonna refine it. But let's get this triangle in here. That looks weird, but that's okay. And then you're going to rough in this body. Again, don't worry about too much. We're just roughing in shape here. Let me get rid of that talking head so it doesn't cover. He's got a belly going there, but I just want to, that looks really weird, but it's going to work, I think so here. Now, yeah, the tendency is, oh, to keep going to the head, but let's make sure we get the proportions right. So here's our fuzzy rear. We're going to put the tail will be coming out, just marking that. And let's get those legs. Now, again, I'm measuring the leg from the top of the rump to its toe is equivalent. So if I measure from here to here, it's from here to 1.5. So I think I've got this a little long. Just keep your proportions. There's one leg, and if I go from the, there we go, there's a good mark. So if I go from the rump to the ground, what I want to see is that distance. Aha, that is right. Okay, so this I want to mark he's sort of standing here. I'm going to just rough this in. I can refine it. Give him a little. Don't worry yet about that second leg. There's the belly. So there's that shoulder mark coming down. And he's got that elbow thing, the dog thing going. Mark his little foot. I find dog legs really hard to draw. Okay, so that's looking better. Yeah. And then bring this up. He's got a little fuzzy neck going. And now I can work on this, the shape of the head. So he's got, anchor it with the nose is what I like to do. So, oops, remind me when I keep getting a bit, if I cover it, let me know. So anchor his nose. And then he's kind of got, did I get that right? Don't worry about like if you have to go over and over. And we're all a little out of practice. So we got his nose coming down, and I want to get that kind of dog smile. And then the big, powerful jawbone up to that ear. And then the other ear, he's got kind of cocked back there. And then don't forget that kind of crest where the eye comes down. And I'm going to need a little bit more dog space there. See, I got that proportion wrong. So it's okay to have to do it again. And I think this will start looking a little better if we can pull his other leg. He's kind of stepping out here. And this one, so we kind of anchor him a little bit. Pull this down. I still feel like I made his head too small. Yeah, definitely. So it's okay to keep feeling that out. I think I made it too skinny. And then we're going to need to place his eye. And get that second eye just barely showing here. And don't want to make too hard of lines. So I'm going to start calling it good and throw in some color here. I think this ear could be a little bit bigger. We'll bring it around and he's definitely got this, dark mark here, a little bit of, you can mark here. This is a little bit faint. You want to leave that, it's not faint, excuse me, kind of blonde. And let me pull this up over. There we go. You can refine his feet later. Again, it's so easy to like get into the details and into the weeds, as it were, and just go on and on and on. But what we're trying to do is capture this in just 15 minutes. So here I've got my paints, and I'm going to get this started by throwing in some nice, I've got the burnt sienna here. We'll make it just a nice wash and try to leave those lighter areas on his tummy. But just get your wash in. So we have our your base color. I'm using a brand new water brush, so kind of breaking it in as we go. My old one is, I think it's about 5 years old, and it finally just disintegrated. This leg is going to be mostly shadow anyway. I'm going to leave some lights in here. Oh, there's that focus is doing that again. I just don't know if I can get that to, if I'd have to disconnect everything to get that to fix itself. So using your burnt sienna and a little bit of the indanthrone, we can get the dark for the tail and muzzle and nose. And that's not quite dark enough. Let's make it darker. And give some fluffiness to the tail. And let's get that darkness on the muzzle, but we don't want it to be like really, really black. His nose, yeah. And then where else are we seeing? I can refine that with pen later. Where else are we seeing more of the dark? Put some right in here. I just put my hand over the dark tail. I'm just going to, this is in shadow. I'm going to throw that back. Now this dried really light. We can go in and enhance that when we come back. And just to show that this one is also a bit farther back, we'll darken the inside a little. And you can go in and really, if you have a little more time, go in and add more of the color and try to approximate these whorls where the fur is. Get it nice and wet first and then drop in a little. I made a little bit of tan to throw in there. And also to just sort of drop in because he's got this really pretty golden thing going on. So I'm getting in the weeds now a little bit on this guy. I should move on, but you can see how we can quickly start capturing up, go back in and add more of the russet. He's pretty, isn't he? But while I've got this color here, I'm going to drop that in. Okay. See how I'm kind of losing myself in. I have a hard time stopping. It's so fun to do. All right, well, we're going to leave him for the time being. As long as I've got this brownish color here, let me, I'll give him some ground to walk on here. Okay, we better move on though. Okay, let's see. Let's keep moving. Yeah, a little, about 5 minutes off. Where are we going next? This is going to be fun. Well, now we're heading way up into far North Russia, and we are going to look at this gorgeous creature. You knew I had to throw in an iridescent beetle, and this is the Caribus beetle, Caribus gebleri, found in Russia and Kazakhstan. It's a nocturnal critter that feeds on live and dead animals, snails, earthworms, insects of all stages, sometimes dead vertebrates even. It's a huge genus with 900 species worldwide. So let's play with some iridescence. Now, oops, it will be really easy to get way too much, get too detail on this. So we're just going to have to restrain ourselves from going bonkers with all the details. Oh, you know what I didn't do? You guys I'm always doing this, is I forgot labels. So this is number 1, and this is our, now I've completely forgotten how to spell it, so I'll have to go back. Is it D-O-H-L-E? Who remembers?
DHOLE.
Thank you. A little dyslexic on that. D-H-O-L-E.
Red wolf.
It's, the genus is Kuon, and I can't remember.
Alpinus.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alpin, us, US probably.
Yes.
Great. So always remember to do that. And you can see I just printed the dark there using my hand, which is common for me. But I'm going to sketch this one, but feel free to choose either one you like. I'm going to start with the shield shape of the rear there. And these are probably its fused wing covers, I imagine. Don't know if these are flightless or not. I forgot to check on that. So I'm just sort of sketching in this shape here. Beetles, it's really easy to just get into the, like, really get into the weeds on their fascinating structure. So I'm gonna focus on the colors more. So I'm trying really hard not to obsess too much on every single detail. Hard to do. But it'll be fun to get some iridescence. And I'm not going to get into huge detail on the mouth parts and things, just because, again, we don't have time for this. If you have time later, you can go in, zoom in. I'll put these all on the website, of course. And then if you have the time, you can zoom in on the detail. I accidentally colored in too much of the eye. You want to leave a little eye shine. And then I'm going to pencil in the legs and the antennae. I think this guy is actually dead. I was looking at the shape of some of the way its mouth parts and legs were lying. So don't get too lost in the weeds of exact here. Again, we're just trying to capture here. Has these do like little teardrop. They're teardrops joined together, and then sketch in. Here's a leg coming out, and then it drops down, teardrop shape, and then you've got these connections of teardrop shapes. And then another leg coming out here. Again, I have this hard time, like I wanted like do every little detail, and I really don't, I just want to do a quick sketch here. We're capturing the essence of this guy. And then I'm just going to do a suggestion of these legs here. Like I said, I think he's dead. So the aspect is, I think its legs are a little weird. In fact, I don't really even like that. I think it's splayed out, unlike he would be. I think I'm going to go ahead and do an edit. I think that looks a little a little better.
Roseann, can we see the image again?
It should be up right now.
I see you looking lovely. That's all I have.
Uh-oh.
I see you. I mean, I see the image.
You should be
I
seeing,
see you. I see you.
no, you shouldn't be seeing me. You should be seeing the,
I see the bug too.
yeah, the, on the left is the picture and on the right is the notebook.
Right.
And that's what, but if you're not seeing that, you might have to leave and come back in or change your views because I shouldn't be showing it all.
No, you're on the right. It's fine. Now I see the bug. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, just move your screen probably. Okay, and I'm just marking a few details here because there's these really cool patterns here. This is the center of the wing there. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to lay down a bright yellow. This seems counterintuitive. Oh, I was right in the middle of, I just want to mark a kind of the other leg there. Okay, let's lie down a bright yellow as over pretty much the whole base, especially in the back here, except for the legs. I don't need to do the, well, I might do some of the legs. Oh, somebody could make sure you're muted. I hear noise. It's going to be multiple layers on this. I have not practiced this one. This is a new iridescence to me, so we will see. Especially where I want to get that bright green, I want to make sure I've got this yellow down underneath.
Color yellow are you using?
Just a really neutral, very bright, transparent yellow called, what is it, cobalt yellow aureolian. And then I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to drop in, see where there's a few highlights of kind of that copper color. I'm going to add that as just a marker on his legs down here. Because we're going to be painting over this and then pulling it off. So it's interesting how this works. When we start adding the blue to get the green, I'm hoping this will dry soon. Let me see how that, if I add, I'm going to add just this manganese blue, which is just a true cyan blue. See that? To get this, pull this bright green there. See? Nice. Just swipe a bright clear blue over. These beetles are highly variable, so if you get something a little different, that's okay. Now you see how we're creating these lovely green. He seems to just sort of, there's all sorts of beautiful colors in here. Now, I'm going to swipe just a little bit of, this is actually magenta, but I want that orangey look. See that? And I want it to be really watery. So swipe some magenta but keep it nice and watery. And let the yellow keep showing through. Because you want that kind of shiny look. So keep it watery as we work toward that iridescent look there. So magenta. So we're using our primaries here. Not watery enough. I just want that barest. Oh, you know what I didn't get on here was there's the tiniest bit of green in here, but that's okay. See how I'm letting the paint do the work here. It's still wet enough. I can swipe this, get the stripy look. I'm gonna need some more dark here. Now I really want to try to pull in that it gets really much darker here on the head. Reserve that green. Let me drop in. See if I can get that to be a little more magenta-y. I want it to dry darker. Hoping it will. Created a little bit darker color here to start giving the beetle its shape. I darkened up the magenta with a tiny bit of the blue, just so we keep in the color family, but create a bit more shadow. Blend. So we're getting a little bit more of the shadow. This is a nice challenge. It's not an easy one. Now I want to darken this up a bit. How am I going to do that without losing my iridescent look? Need more orange, so I've got to bring in there. See if I can't get that to work. This is kind of fun. Definitely a challenge, though. I like challenges. This is still too wet. I don't want to play with that anymore. Let's make some dark for we want to make a black for the legs. There's some iridescence on the legs, though. So what you want to do, the legs and the antennae, to enhance that, paint a little bit of your blue directly, the bright blue. Just, you're going to cover it up and then let a little bit show to create this highlight. So just dab some on. And then we're going to cover it with black and then pull that black. Would have been a little easier if I had done this at the beginning, but I literally forgot. Okay, let's see. Now let's make that black. And I use the burnt sienna and indanthrone. Hopefully these aren't too wet. And so just quickly do your leg bits. Is that a technical term? It takes some time to do this, so I might have to come back later, but you can see the process here. By painting over the blue, we're going to get more of that shiny beetle effect. So even though I'm covering it, you come back and lift it. You can lift this black because it's you mixed it, you know it's liftable. You haven't used a staining color. You wouldn't want to use something like phthalo blue to mix a black, because then that wouldn't come off. All right, I should move on soon. I've got some black here, so I'm going to just real quickly go over this tiny bit there, and with a kind of almost a
Please say the
dull
name of the beetle again.
Caribus. We can, there we go, Caribus. So if I get some of these done, I can show you how you clean your brush. So you've got a nice clean brush. And then you pull off some of that black, so some of the blue shows through, like so, and you get that shiny effect. Or here we have the coppery color. She's got a lot going on. So you go in and, especially the parts that are roundy bits, pull some of your black off to reveal the blue, and you'll get that iridescent look, like so. And I'll have to come back and figure out how I'm going to darken this without losing the iridescent kind of qualities and darken this. I'm liking where this is going, but it needs more layers, which we don't quite have time for. But you kind of get the essence there of how you do the layering and pulling off and using your colors together to create an iridescent look. So this is the Caribus beetle. This is Caribus gableri. And you want to write your notes. It's feeds on carrion as well as live animals. I'm assuming grubs, things that insects. but also dead animals. And is this one is from northern Russia and Kazakhstan. Oh, have I left enough room to write it? And we can add some more notes on there. So I'll think about how we want to come back and kind of work on this, adding some texture. You could spend a lot of time on it, which is fun, but we've used up more than our allotment on this critter. So I'm moving on to the next one. Where are we going next? Ooh, we are going way, way up farther north to view the gorgeous Amur tiger. They are native to the Russian Far East. This is Panthera tigris, Northeast China and possibly North Korea. There's only about 562 that they've actually censused in Russia. They don't know how many are in China. They do move back and forth, of course. So there's not very many left. They're very large, up to 675 pounds for the males. And they're still subadults at 35 months and don't reach sexual maturity till about 48 to 60 months. So it takes them a long time to get ready for breeding, and they only live 10 to 15 years in the wild. Beautiful. So let's work on sketching this gorgeous creature. Let me get this moved over here. This is going to be a challenge. So this is our Amur or Siberian tiger. So the thing we want to do is not get too just absolutely fall into the too much detail of all the stripes and the fur and everything. And then where do you start with this? So I think the face is where we want to focus. And what I would do is start just with I'm just being very rough here, a sort of big furry oval. And then let's anchor it with the nose. I find that sometimes that helps me a lot. I'm going to approximate that. He's got a big nose. And then you get the split lip, and then we can get started just marking the lippers. And then from there, we can make sure we build out, okay, that really broad nose. And get those proportions right as we're working in. You see how I'm doing that. Now getting the eye placement, I think, is critical. So I want to do those first so I don't, get too far down and then notice that maybe I screwed up the eye placement. I think we're doing okay there. Just lightening them up because I don't want to commit too much in case I have to move them. But now I can go up and okay, so if you look at where the eye sort of points to the ear, let's get the ear placement in, which is kind of small compared to the rest of his body. But that at least gives us an anchor point. We got that? How does that feel? If we start, I think it's a little big. Um, and then what we want to do is, without committing any solid lines, let's get some shape in here. So what we want here, so I can get his chin in there, is let's get that gape. Is this too, I think this is a little too long. I'm getting a little too detailed. It's so easy to do, but we want that. Let's get those. They call them canines. That's just so wrong, isn't it? So we want his mouth right. That's hard. Get it, put a few little markers in here for those whisker dots, and that'll help you. And yeah, man, his mouth is huge, right? But what we really want to do is mark this chin. And then the rest kind of like grades into his furriness. So don't get too hung up on getting the stripes exactly right, but let's throw in a few dark marks to give us tigery. And then got quite dark around the eyes, but then you're going to need to, when we color, there's some light around it too. So he's got some, almost looks like he's frowning the way these work. Just throw in a few. Don't try to do every one. We'll reserve the white. Now I want this shape here. Keep going back to that eye. Because if you don't get the eye right, it just feels completely wrong. So we'll keep working on those. But what I want to do is I'm going to get these. See how his stripes come down and form like a robe? I want to mark that. Because this forms the basis for his chest. Then we come down here and literally we can add, oh, let's see. Pull that paw in. We're going to get those huge toes. And then this arm can grade up here. I'm being very vague about this because I want to focus on the face and the arm coming down here, and I'm not going to worry about the rest of the body. So this comes down. It's sort of got this paw coming down here. So let that just sort of grade back. And I'm going to leave that kind of, vague because his body just sort of goes off there. I'm going to refine the face just a tad. All right. And we just barely show that this is coming down here. And then let's throw we'll do a little bit of color, being very careful not to overdo it. He's actually got, here's his lips coming in here. You see that there? And then he's got this really dark. His mouth is really far open. And if you want to put in whiskers, that's good. It might get a little too busy, but you might suggest a few. And then he's got that classic kind of tabby cat thing going. Let's see what we can do with some color. I'm not liking all the markings, but I can come in and refine that, I think. You see how it's easy to get just too in the weeds on this. Just didn't feel like I quite got the proportions the way I wanted on the face, but let's see what we can do with some color. Where'd my color go? I've still got some black here. Oh, look, and I still have some orange. So this is good. We're going to get that rich tiger orange. And probably what I want to do, since we want a fur, is this fur. I want to get it wet, nice and wet before I drop in that orange, because it's just going to be up, not very much. And I'm trying to reserve the white. Those of you working in pen, I just decided today I just wasn't feeling it for the pen. You'll get better color out of it than I am, because I've got a little bit too much of the graphite because of how many times I erased. but that's okay. This is just like a whisper of color here. The tops of his ears are orange. And then those, that white kind of surprised looking face, or above the eyes, the white makes him look like he's surprised, doesn't it? And then to get that kind of aura of fur around and to highlight the white, one of the things you could do is, if you used your pen, just barely. Oh, wow, look at that. It was still wet there. Kind of like that effect though. Interesting. Make some fur marks with your pen. And interesting, if that were still damp, that would make a nice effect. Let's see what happens. Because I'm liking the way it looks, furry wise. It's, it would be tempting to just put it solid in, but it's not solid. So you can see the texture. And if I outline his teeth a little better, so probably would have been a better strategy to ink this. I'm definitely getting into drawing tiger here. So I'm going to have to watch my own time. But you see, I think that's improving quite a bit. And I'm liking it. And, you can come in and enhance that rough. Okay. I'm going to wait because I think if I keep working on it, I'll just sort of noodle it into where I don't want it to be. So we'll come back to him, but let's label this we're only on the 3rd and I'm falling behind. I'm out of practice. This is our Amur tiger. This is Panthera tigris. What a great name. Okay. And we'll fill in some details. I really kind of like how the ink with the wet, you could play with that to get a better looking fur. That would be kind of cool. I'll have to come back and play with that. But in the meantime, I'm supposed to be moving on. Someone's going to have to put a buzzer going. Anne-Marie, you can buzzer me because we're only on 4. Where are we going now? So we're going a little bit farther down in this part of Asia to one of my favorite, most beautiful birds. This is the Amur falcon, male on the left, female on the right. Beautiful, beautiful falcon. Let's look at what these are. They're small, like only up to about 11 inches body. And but big, broad, not broad, big pointed, broadly. Oh, my brain isn't working with my mouth properly. The falcon wings are very, wing spread is very large, but not broad. They're not broad winged. They work in open wooded country with marshes. And actually, one of the coolest things about them is that they migrate in huge flocks across India and over the Arabian Sea to winter in southern Africa and East African coasts. So you'll see hundreds and hundreds of them together, which is really interesting. So they have that distinctive orange eye ring and feet, and the cere, the flesh around the base of the bill. And they feed mainly in the late evening or early mornings and capturing insects in the air, and will also take vertebrates while feeding their young. So let's put this guy here. Almost didn't, Mr. Tiger took up too much room. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm gonna mark, basically, I'm just marking the head. Let's make it just a little ovally like this. And then he's sitting, here's the body. Just a tiny bit angled. Small body, long wings. Let's give him his rock perch. And put your shoulder in there, because that wing goes way down here. Fold it up. Don't get too far in the weeds, meaning trying to do too much detail like I always end up doing. Just show feather marks rather than the actual feathers. Here's the butt, if you will. See, I'm already wanting to do too much detail. Now let's get that face marked in. So you want, kind of gonna do a little, I'm gonna do a little, he's kind of cap. And even though it's not super demarcated, it's gonna help us add his eyes, because this comes down and goes up. And we've got an eye right there. And then you've got this coming up here. And we need that other eye here. And you've got that cere, and then just do a triangle for the bill for now with a very sharp tip. There's quite a bit of that orange showing around, and a dark tip. And then you're going to have your feathers come out here. Don't want it to be too flat top. Okay. And so let's not forget his feet. So he's not just sort of hanging off nowhere. They barely show, but we're going to give them talons. Okay, let's get some color in here. Going to have to move quickly on him, but I want to get that orange, and I'm going to get the orange by cheating a little bit. That's not cheating. I want the brightness, so I'm actually going. If you have your own bright orange in your palette already, great. See, I start with bright yellow and then add magenta on top after it dries. And that gives me a bright orange without having to have one in my mini palette. But if you have a really nice orange, bright orange, you want to add that. And then we can add the gray while that's drying. Beautiful blue-gray, isn't it? I'm going to add a little more blue. That's why I like to mix my own, because I can really get the color right. Be careful not to touch that yellow. Need to make him puffier over here, don't I? All right, I'm just going to throw in some color here real quick. So I don't want to lose the whiteness. Also, there's this russety buff under right here. But you can tell I didn't get this as it needs to come out a little more. There. Barely touching that. I don't really want to, oops, just laid down a color I don't want. And now I can come in with that magenta. Oop, too much water. That's one of the things with these water brushes. Oof, boy, they are tough to control sometimes.
Hey, Roseann, I wasn't sure if you were really serious about a time check, but since you did say something, it is about 3 minutes to the 9:15 mark, just FYI.
Perfect. Thank you.
We had a lot of training.
I know, and the funny thing is, when you're demonstrating and stuff, teaching, it's so easy to just get lost.
And that's okay too. That's all right too, Roseann.
But you can see we're getting I'm pulling the orange a little bit here. Got a little dirty because of the graphite. I think I'll go back to pen next time. I'm not loving the graphite, but so this is number 4. This is our hammer. I'm gonna write sideways. Falcon. And as long as I've got the color in the palette, I often do that. I'm gonna make his rock here. Because then I can clean the palette and move on. Okay. As long as you have your colors, you may as well use it. So I'm actually using the cleaning my palette by throwing it onto the rock. Yay, okay. Now I can wipe that palette. Now, let's see, where are we going next? It's funny how out of practice I feel, right? It's going to be great to get back into the groove. I'm loving this. So where are we going next? Oh, we're going to Japan. Oh, this is fun. Haha, wait till you see this guy. Look at this. Are they just the cutest? And what are they? So these, it'll take this just a second to go. These are called raccoon dogs. They are not raccoons or not even closely related. They are actually omnivorous canids. They are a dog. They're not a raccoon, but they look like them. And they are super popular in Japanese folklore. They are omnivorous. As you can see, they've developed this, their folklore revolves around being jolly and mischievous, and you'll probably recognize in many different cartoon characters, including the Super Mario series. He has a tanuki costume. Tanuki is the Japanese word for this wonderful little nocturnal animal. So let's get started on our cute little tanuki. What's going to be they're just like a puffball, right? This is funny. Getting this re-centered. So give you guys seasickness. Okay. Let's put him, oh, the camera.
What are these again?
Oh, it's called a raccoon dog or a tanuki.
Thank you.
T-N-U-K-I. Nycteroides viverinus, an omnivorous canid. So similar in diet to like the gray fox here, which will do anything. We eat all sorts of things. So we've got Mr. Puffball here. So just start with a light puff ball, literally, which is going to have legs. And then I think the best thing to do is to draw a, let's anchor with the nose again. Triangle, kind of a broad triangle, where we're going to anchor everything else and place the ears and the feet. And I think that will work for getting the shape of this little guy. So you've got, excuse me, a canid nose. Oof, I'm gonna have to get something to drink here in just a second. Okay, excuse me. All right, so this nose comes up like so. And I'm going ahead and doing the nose because that's what anchors the eye. Right, like that. And then the other one is going to be So important to get these right here, like so. And then we can build from here. This actually, in terms of shape, goes kind of out this way. And let's make them, a marker of the jaw like that, because that's kind of that raccoon thing going on. And before I go too much longer, I'm going to make sure I get the pupil in there. So we have that. Okay, now we just want to do, let's get this ear mark. Get this ear mark, which is kind of just this big fuzzy thing. And then it is just a big fluff ball. So you're just going to make marks that are fur. Literally. And so we've got one kind of foot here. Let's just do a foot marker. And then it kind of fluffs down here. And then we've got one little foot here. And I'm just doing like toe marks here. You have stubby little. Actually, I didn't get that proportion right, did I? So you check that. If I were doing pen, I would have checked the proportion a little more carefully. And then another, just basically put some toes in here. And making marks to kind of mark the head. And then we'll use our color to more carefully delineate. I'm going to do some pen marks because the graphite tended to get kind of muddy. In fact, I'm going to pull off some of the graphite. And you can use your pen or pencil marks to make sure your fur's going the right way. So he's got just marking the ear here. Fluff, fluff, fluff. Can't really tell what's going on with the other ear. I think he's got it kind of turned down. There's a stripe over each ear. And I think he's like, it's pointed, listening to something. Hard to say. And then we've got our raccoony marks. Little claws. All right, I'm better call it good on this guy. And then get our detail a little bit more with the paint. Now let's make sure we give him some ground to stand on. Well, this is number 5. This is our tanuki. Oops. Raccoon dog. And it is a canid. So we'll do a golden wash. It's got a lovely, I'm cleaning that off a little better. He's got a lovely golden undertones. So the way I do that is actually I'll lay down some burnt sienna and then or do your yellow and then add burnt sienna to it. So it's a it's a warm red, so it's going to mute it and make a nice golden. Now there's nice, the pen does, it showed the black guard hairs that pen does well to show the black guard hairs. I like that. And then here he's got much more golden. I keep going back to saying, oh my gosh, he's too fluffy, he's too fat. But I don't think so. And we want to get some rich brown. So there's kind of this, see this kind of bar, kind of. See if I can approximate that. I don't want to make it too black, even though it looks really dark. I think that would look weird. And I want to go in and see how his feet are kind of sable colored. Go in and see if I can pull out some of that. The ear tips tufts are almost like, they're not quite black. They're very, very dark brown. All right, I'm gonna move on soon. He's gonna take just a little bit more work. I like the tip of this new water brush, though. It's letting me do some nice detail. But I think for approximating a raccoon dog, we did pretty well. And you could go in and do some of the background. I'll let this dry. It's still pretty wet before I enhance anymore. And then we'll maybe do some ink work to pull out the blacks. But I think I better stop for now.
Roseanne, can you
Yeah.
show the description again? So I
Oh
have a
yeah,
picture of
because
it?
I need to do the same thing. This is a challenging one. So this is interesting.
you.
It's Nick Terriutes. So you'll want to enhance that. And again, the ink, I can come back and do the guard hairs. I don't want to overdo it, but we'll see how it goes. The tiger is looking a lot better. So once it dried, but we're moving on. And now we're going all the way down south to kind of the peninsula where Vietnam, Thailand. And this is super cool. I'm excited about this one. Okay, watch here. This is a super cool lizard. Look at that. So many interesting things. It is called the flying dragon. Draco is the genus, the flying lizard. It's an agamid lizard common in gardens and shrub jungles of Southeast Asia. Wouldn't that be fun to have in your garden? It's long, like 7.5-inch long, tail included. The wings are formed by an enlarged set of ribs. You can see them there. And they're called patagia rather than wings, I think more properly. They don't fly, they glide. And the hind limbs in cross section, they think form an airfoil and also involved in generating lift. Super cool. Up to 200 feet they can glide. And they are arboreal insectivores. So let's draw the Draco. Oh, come on. No. There we go. I think what we'll do is let's enlarge this for now because so we can get the sketching in. Let's put it here. Just sketching the tree limb. What we want to do is let's start with the shape of the patagia. And just sort of pencil that in. And then the body comes through like this, tail down like this. And then the tail goes all the way down. And then you can see, I'm just putting dots for the body because it's not super, you can see it through the membrane, comes up, and then you've got kind of the head here. A skinny little neck. There you can see where the forelimb comes down and it's holding the tree. Can't really see what the toes look like, so I'm just sort of guessing. And then let's get that hind limb. Nice. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, let's see. Don't forget his eyeball. Very round. So he's sort of looking out this way. A little bit of a snout. And then there's a secondary, looks like almost like a butterfly wing shape. I'm not going to put marks on that because I want a bright, clear watercolor. Now, interestingly, let's switching to pen here so I can keep the watercolor clear. I'm going to do a broken line sketch, very light. Oops. Now, notice the wing or the patagia. It's not a perfect circle. And then it looks like it's attached to the leg right here. And then it kind of flows with the body here. But you see the segments? And then we've got kind of dots going on. I'm going to go ahead and sketch those in. And then very faintly, just I'm going to suggest the ribs very faintly. And don't worry about making them perfect at this point. Remember, we're just doing a quick sketch. Okay. Better call this good for now. Let's get a little texture in our tree. He's fun, isn't he? All right. I'm not going to touch this yet, but I can put some bright yellow there after I clean my palette. Because I've got a lot of kind of muddy colors right now from mixing browns. But the sun is right behind that here. Ah, it wasn't quite cleaned up. Fortunately, Aeolian lifts off really well, so I was able to clear that up. You know, and if you want to show a bit more shadow, darken it right there. But I wouldn't go crazy with it. And then let's see how is this dry enough. Yay! That ink dries so nice and fast. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little light yellow wash. He's kind of olive color, so I'll be able to come in and use it. Get olive green going here. But that helps harmonize a little bit. Let's, I'm doing a dirty green now, brightening it up. Oops, that's a little bit too much. And then adding a tiny bit of magenta to all of that out. See that? And I think we have a good lizard body color. Fun. Isn't it? Aren't these cool? Wouldn't you love to have one in your garden? Let's see. Grabbing some dark blue to give some structure here. If you lay that over the olive, it will make a nice shadow. Okay, I think I'm getting too much in the weeds. We can come back later and add the brown. If you have a reddish colored pen, you could have done the Patagia that way. There's lots of cool texture on this guy, so much you could work on. So cool. But we're going to move on after I remember to write who he is. This is number 6. This is the Draco. Flying, we'll call it the flying dragon. You could say, I have flying dragons in my garden. Because the genus name is Draco. And there are many species, and it didn't say which species this was. I apologize. They're pretty variable. But how fun is that? He's pretty cool. And I'm liking how the rock on the armor falcon came out. Nice loose watercolor there. Shows if you relax and just let it flow, it can be really quite nice. So we're almost to the end. Where are we going now? Same general area to this crazy cute creature. This is a flying lemur, the Sunda Kalugo, but it's not a lemur and it doesn't fly. But it's still called commonly the flying lemur. It glides between treetops using huge gliding membranes that stretch from its front limbs all the way to its tail. You can see them here going all the way down, and it's tucked under there. That's the hind leg there. Lives high in the trees. They're only about 2 to 4 pounds. They eat leaves, shoots, flowers, fruit, mainly nocturnal, and clings to the branches with all 4 feet. You can see that there. And the teeth, interestingly, are comb-like in shape. And they use it for grooming. They have 20 tines on each. So let's draw Mr. Lemur. Which one you want to draw, you choose. I think I'm going to draw the full body one. It's too close, isn't it? And I think I'm going to tuck him right here. Here's just penciling in the branch, or excuse me, tree trunk, very lightly. And then what I'll do is let's just do a teardrop shape for his head, like so. Very faint, you can see. And then we want to kind of got his whole, this body is kind of just an oval, like so. And as we sort of get this feel for him, we'll bring this down. He's got kind of a nose like that. And then this goes, creates a loop, and then his little forearm with the attached wing comes down like this. Here's the hind foot. So I imagine those have some sort of like claws that we can't see. So there's a shape of a leg here. Interesting how the fur almost looks like the tree, doesn't it? I think that's intentional. And he's got quite a little button nose and huge eyes. They are nocturnal. And these cute little reddish ears. Look at that. They're so unusual looking. I keep thinking I have the proportions wrong, and then I go back and it's like, well, no, he is kind of weird. And look at the patterns on the body, the fur, I thought was really interesting. You could have a lot of fun studying that. Just want to show some basic texture on the tree here. Okay. Almost a little too pinheady, but we're going to go with it. So I want to get the pinky red on the ears and nose.
Do they have fingers or claws or what?
It looks like claws. They've got a really, so you can see here, almost like bats. Oops. Oh no, come back. There.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see right there.
Right.
They're so camouflaged. Look at that.
Wow. Totally.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. And a very golden eye. Looks like, yeah, that's showing the sclera. But they definitely have kind of russet brown, pretty brown eyes. And I have this green in my palette, so I'm going to use it to just color behind him for just because I can. Because I think sometimes that's a really effective way to set him off a little bit better. Don't touch that pink. And I can use this to just sort of, so. All right. Actually, interestingly, I could grab some of this, make a very mossy green, because some of his body, it mimics that almost the same color as the tree. So like so. We've got some of the membrane going on too. We'll fill that in. Right here is kind of a russet color. Just want to get this base color in, and then we can hit it with grays. Leave some of the whites. Might have to come back with gouache because I think I just killed that. using a lot of water, so I get kind of the watermarky thing. Oh, and yes, a very dark muzzle, so we'll have to hit that too.
Is there a tail?
Doesn't look like they really have a tail that's showing. I would have to look up to see if, they probably do have one tucked in between, but it's hidden by the membrane. Need to get a dark muzzle color. All right, I'm going to, let's see, add just a tiny bit of the gray here, and I'm making it broken. It's still too wet. I wanted that like furry look, so I'll have to come back for that. And look at how that almost matches that. So we'll have to come back and enhance that. Oh, so cool. Okay, so this is our number 7. Flying lemur. Who is not a lemur, does not fly, meaning powered flight. It glides. And we'll add the species name, but we can come back and use either using ink or other colors, enhance the color here, and put in more shadow like there, etc. But that kind of gets into the weeds too much. Keep using that phrase. It's really the right phrase, is it? But that's okay. All right. I'm running late, but we're on the last one, and for that, we're going down to Malaysia, and this is really cool. A tapir. I have always wanted to see one. They are so cool. This is the Malayan tapir, Tapirus indicus, and it's the only tapir species outside of the Americas, native to Southeast Asia and the Malay Peninsula, and it's been endangered for a long time. Only fewer than 2,500 individuals. That is classic disruptive coloration, like a zebra, where you have the incredible contrasts, so that as they hide in the forest with a lot of light and dark, they are very well hidden. Although it is said that there are very few predators that can take these guys down. They are huge, 550 to 710 pounds. Tigers, I guess, could take them if they're in the same habitat. They're solitary herbivores, so kind of like a cross between an elephant and a hippo, maybe. I don't know. They're active at night in rainforests. They will swim, and you can see their very interesting 4-toed feet there. And the nose is prehensile, similar to an elephant, like a short one, and it's used to pluck leaves and twigs. So, whoops. Let's sketch one in here. I got carried away with the tree, so going to have to infringe on our drawing down here. That's okay. Blow that up a little bit. there. So let's just get the overall shape, first of all. Make sure that since he's all dark, I'll be able to cover that up. So here, let's pull this down here. And I'm going to go ahead and wing it on this one since we're short on time. So here's the nose comes up. What I'm going to do is get some shape in here, and then I'll realize whether I've got the proportions right. Oh, I have a hard time with the legs and feet. Takes a lot of practice. He has a real undercut butt. Look at that. This comes down. It's skinnier legs, so to me, it's really hard to draw the legs. Whew. This is going to be a challenging one, isn't it? The tummy looks good. The proportions, we'll look at the, so if you look at the general proportion of the head, so here's the jaw and that ear coming up. And the eye way down here. That works. So there's the mouth is going to be in here. I still just struggle with these. Would have to study their anatomy to really get good at doing. So get those toes. That's very tapery. Still not loving that. Oh, who else feels kind of wobbly about these mammal legs?
I do. Legs and
Yeah.
feet are hard.
I think they're so hard. It's much easier if you just draw them in the grass and you don't have to draw their feet.
That is true.
Unfortunately, I couldn't fake it on this one. Forcing me. Okay. And then here he's kind of stepping out here. So little taper toes. It looks like he just has a tiny little nubby tail, like right there. That's not bad. I think the head could be a little skinnier. That's okay then. You can work on your, there we go, proportions a little better. And then let's mark where the disruptive coloring is here. And then right across, looks like just over the tail there. So we can mix a nice rich, whoops, blacky gray. That was fast because I think I got a lot of them in just we're only 3 minutes over so far. So here, probably the best way to do this is we want this to be wet here. So that we don't get a super hard line. Nice, so that works. And what I like about using, our own black here is I know this lifts really well, so I can come back and pull highlights after it dries, re-wet it. In fact, that just showed really well there how you can, pull a highlight just by rubbing your finger. There, you can see how I'll be doing that. I think, do I have enough left at least just to, oh, that's not wet enough. Don't want that hard line. Ooh. Making it worse, aren't I? But as you can see, as you go, you can lift this off pretty easily. So I better stop there so I don't make it worse. At least lay in my first leg there. I'll have to come in and make that darker, but you can see how he's going. It's going to be fun. Very cool. I think we got the shape. I like the way that graded there, and we want to label. This is number 8. Our Malaysian paper. Yay, okay, 7 minutes. Not bad. I kind of made it up on the taper because he's such an easy shape. So thank you guys. If you want to grab that Taperus indicus, that's great to put in there. The only taper outside of the Americas. I wanted to learn more about that, how that worked. So, okay. So thank you all. This was so much fun as always. If you enjoyed this, I love to, even a tiniest tip is well appreciated. I'll drop that link in the chat and stop the share here. That was so fun. I really, really enjoyed that, even though I felt really, really rusty. How about you guys? Anyone want to share what you've got? Let me turn off my spotlight. Raise your hand if you want to share. Randy, was that you coming on? You gonna share?
Oh,
No,
I was
she's
just
like,
going, I was just going to gallery. I mean, I can show you.
Yeah, let's see it.
Some
I
things. I was
love to see it. I'm feeling super
I-
rusty. Nice job on Mr. Taper. Well done. And the Kalugo, really sweet. Ah, did you do direct watercolor?
Yeah.
Nice. I need to just do that. I'm just a chicken. You can, okay, at the
Well-
boot camp, Randy, at the boot camp, you can demonstrate your direct watercolor. Nice.
Okay.
Well done. Love it.
It's the funniest little raccoon.
I
And
know.
then I get to work more on
Tiger was
that
hard
tracking
to,
thing
yeah,
too.
good start, good start. And great.
I
on
need
the
to learn
under-
how to stop the iPad from following me when I move.
I know it's under your settings in the camera. It's called desk mode or something. I can't remember. There's
Yeah,
a
it's
mode. It's
supposed
cool
to-
though, because it's zooming in right now.
You're supposed to hit the central or
Yeah.
turn the central off or something. I can't even find that.
It's
icon
cool
to do
though.
that.
It's like it's almost like you've got a pro cameraman sitting there doing your
Oh. I'm taking a watercolor class and I'm showing some and people were getting dizzy because it would move.
oh
So
nice. Wait,
I
thank
need to
you.
learn. Thank
Anyone
you.
else want to share? Sonia, let me spotlight you. I love to see. Great. Oh, you're muted, I
There we
think.
go.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't get much of the color done on this guy, but there's my little guy.
Nice. You really got his face much better than mine. Love it. Love it. Well done. Good proportions.
And here's my,
Oh, the
Oh.
armor. Beautiful. Look at your stance is just perfect.
and the others, well, I didn't get any color done on the tiger.
Yeah, that's intimidating. I like didn't want to do it. Nice, Tiger.
And on the beetle.
Fun.
I
Yeah.
did
I'll keep working on the iridescence. That's a hard iridescence. So
Yeah.
I'll put in when I post this on the website, on the page, what I finally did to kind of pop that iridescence. Because I'm
And
not sure I got it right.
Bye.
Oh, well done. Nice.
And,
Yeah.
and didn't get much of anything done on the taper. I got a shape in, but not any.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, we were running fast on those, so
Yeah.
well done.
But
Yay.
thank you. These were great. These were so fun.
They are fun, and I might be doing the next one from England, so it will be still the morning for you guys, but it'll be late afternoon, early evening for me. So where are we going next? It'll be Oceania, I think, Australia. So that'll be fun. You can guess what we're going to be doing there. So thank you, everyone. I really, really appreciate these are so fun. They're so good for me. It was so fun to use these skills live the other day and go, oh my gosh, it works. And yeah, today felt a little wobbly, but it's fun to be back. So thank you all. Have a great, is it Saturday? Yes. Have a great weekend. And some of you I will see at the New Mexico boot camp next weekend. All right. Oh, Susan. Sue, there you go. Yeah.
Hi, I spaced it out. I'm sorry I'm late, but I will see you at the boot camp. I can't wait.
Yep, I'll get the recording up probably this afternoon, but
Thank
Sue,
you. Awesome.
Randy will be at the boot camp. So see you there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.